Welcome in, everybody. RFK Refugees Podcast. Ted here, John here. You know, we might be predicted to be near the bottom, according to MLS Soccer. We might be at the bottom of David Goss's excitement rankings or watchability rankings for 2025. But you know what? We're still here, everybody. We're still here to watch the season. We're still getting excited, right, John?
Yeah.
John,
Yeah.
I think your predictions will counteract that and your wild predictions and everything else. You are fully on the negative train, I must say.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure you know what, I allow you to have that opinion. That is fine.
Better.
I allow you to have that opinion. We don't live in a dictatorship yet. Just yet. We're getting close. But I allow you to have that opinion. But you know what? I'm going to be excited. It's the season. We got a 3-1 win over Nashville. I'm feeling some good vibes, man. I'm feeling the good vibes about the season. And I want you, I'm going to drag you to
You're not.
that.
You really aren't. You really aren't going to do that. It's okay. It's all right. Listen, you know how this works.
I did not say I would do it in the next hour.
Okay,
or hour and a half, depending
that
how
will not
long.
happen.
I will not do that right now. I will not promise you that because I know how you are, and I know that you are negative. Your appearance on the MLS battered whatever that podcast was,
Battered fans,
MLS battered fans. Thank you, Battered Herons guys, Miami guys. I've been on their show before. Your appearance there was very negative. If you don't, anyone wants to go watch it. My appearance is always very positive. I'm very hopeful. I'm a hopeful guy.
Listen, having that on after the day after we just did our entire show was not great timing for them to get the best out of me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed putting on I was like Bane. I was like DC United Bane. I was born in the darkness. It was great. I had fun in a way. I enjoyed it. I can't speak for anyone else, but I liked it.
Well, let's talk about it, man. We have some news. We have some exciting news. We got a win to talk about that no one saw, but we're gonna.
If a DC United wins in the Forest and no one's there to see it, did it really happen?
Yeah, exactly. But how was your weekend, John? I always open with that. I want to make sure you're doing okay.
It's okay. I was at the beach I was at a very, very rainy Virginia beach all weekend. I had very good pizza yesterday. That was probably the highlight. What about you?
It was a fairly quiet weekend. You know, last quiet weekend before the madness of the soccer I mostly care about starts, which is on the stateside soccer. Refereed a collegiate, was it the college club games, with the U of R very clearly having like nicely purchased jerseys, and George Mason very clearly having I think one of the jerseys had the CAA logo, so like that's how old those jerseys probably were.
Good. Those are my peoples.
So it was actually a good game, 2-2. George Mason coming back like in the second half to tie it up, and scoring on like a last minute goal off a free kick. So I gotta
say, with all the soccer coming up, you know, this weekend starting, I feel like we're getting set up to fail from like a getting yelled at perspective in our lives, with the fact that the times are now staggered. So both this weekend and next weekend, we can start at 2:30 and just watch soccer all day and all night, which is I'm very excited. It's great. However,
yes.
Like in the process of living the rest of your life, and also trying to watch Spirit games, for instance, like it is it's conducive to only watching soccer. That's all it's conducive to. It's just like immerse yourself in MLS, man. Get deep. Plus the Sunday night game.
Yeah, well, and also Sunday night game, which I'm looking forward to. I think there's going to be more soccer to watch. It's a Galaxy in San Diego for the Sunday night game, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah,
be nice to feel better about with a win. And we'll certainly we got some season stuff. We'll probably also talk. I think neglected to put it on the rundown the fact that we actually do have a game, but
we might try to do it. We might try to scramble and do a preview, like a short preview, maybe sometime in the middle of the week.
We will probably do that. Obviously, DC United kicking off the 2025 season against Toronto FC, a fortuitous beginning.
One of the
season.
Teams that we might be able to beat.
The game that literally no one else will watch other than DC fans and Toronto fans. Most
There's going to be like 800 streaming viewers
because everybody else will be at the stadium except for us. But
right.
But let's get into it. Let's talk some DC United first. Let's talk DC United last preseason game. before they kick off the regular season. Starting a lineup that will most likely, I think, according to Stephen Goff, most likely be the starting lineup heading into the opening game. There's some players they're still working back from health. Some players are still working back from injury, including Matty Peltola and some others. But mostly other than the 2 injuries we've had, I think everybody should hopefully be good to be sort of rolling in. There are no serious injuries. That lineup was Kim Jung-hong, Aaron Herrera, Lucas Bartlett, Kai Rolls, David Schnegg, and then Boris Sinal and Brendan Sarvania is sort of your 2 holding midfielders. Gabriel Pirani, Jose Kojima, Joao Peglo. Stephen Goff noting that it was Kojima out on the left, Peglo out on the right, and Gabriel Pirani sort of as the center number 10. And of course, starting was Christian Benteke. DC United winning 3-1. Again, we can only go based off really what Stephen Goff is telling us.
Right, whatever Steve says dictates the vibes.
But man, Stephen kind of got me a little bit hyped. He's been talking up Jose Kojima. I am officially on the Kojima hype train. I think for 2020 for 2025, I think he's looking like he could be potentially a great pickup for this team. Benteke gets what's that? Don't buy his jersey.
No.
Benteke got a goal. Pirani with a goal assisted by Benteke, so that partnership seems to be going. He talked a lot about how Kai Rolls looks like an improvement and how he thinks he makes for an improved defense over that, and also that Kim Jong-hong had an impressive save. So Kim Jong-hong also apparently really learning English, according to the saying, really diving into it. So I don't know, man. Vibes are feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling some good vibes. I am ready for it to all come crashing down. I've been here before.
I think having Brendan Cervania as the starting holding midfielder should probably give you a little pause on your vibe train, but maybe not.
It's due to injuries. I
understand that's part of the vibes.
Cervania is on here because he's hurt. He has been a relatively 30-game starter. I mean, he's not flashy by any stretch of the imagination, but he was a player who's been out there and has played significant minutes for TFC, significant minutes for Dallas. So I don't know. I'm not so down on him potentially as a player. I think they got him, because he's been hurt, and so I don't know. Could be a renaissance for him. So, and I mean, honestly, Toronto's not very good, so I don't think it'll matter for the first week.
Probably should. It's the Cervania revenge game.
But also, go ahead. I'll let you have some more talk. Bring me back down to earth a little bit.
No, I mean, I'm just Jared Stroud being injured to start the season is not good. I don't care. I don't. When I have a long history of not believing what coaches say about injuries and adding 3 weeks to whatever they tell you, that's usually a healthy thing with DC United. They're very bad at predicting returns from injury. So the fact that Stroud is already sort of battling something, the fact that we just found out that Matty Peltola tore his hamstring on international duty this last window, that was news to all of us as I think it came out.
Not necessarily news. He did come off injured in November, so this actually.
But we did not know that it was a hamstring tear.
That's true.
So that's not necessarily that great. Defensively, I think we're all fit and accounted for. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's also the area that we appear to have the most depth, which is a new sensation for DC United fans. But yeah, no, I mean, this is the best way for us to start the season. This is the key opponent. This is the nothing happens in February in MLS really. I mean, it happens. They count. All the points count the same. But a win here would be what you kind of want to see. Like these when we always talk about we always look at the month ahead and chart out the points. And there's no version of a good season that does not have a win over Toronto in it. Particularly as Toronto continues to have players that want to go run away. It would be like if Christian Benteke was like, "I hate it here, and I want to fight people in my own locker room." That would be the DC United version of this. And so we gotta beat them up here, even with 1 or 2 injuries here early in the season.
Yeah, and I'll say. Looks mostly healthy. I think it's a pot. Sorry, and I said 3-1 over Nashville. This was over Houston, not Nashville, because Ben Olsen was out there. I don't know why I wrote
Enjoy
Nashville.
The Ben Olsen picture talking to DC United fans, and I love man. I love that. I love it, man. That made my day when I saw that picture. I was like, oh, okay, good.
But I mean, this is a Nashville team that is predicted to be close in the playoffs, and so I think it's a positive they went out and got a win. And so I'm feeling some good
Houston?
vibes. Yeah, against Houston. Sorry, I don't know why I wrote Nashville and I keep saying Nashville. It's Houston. It was obviously Houston. All right. Next
They
up,
lost to Nashville 4-1, by the way.
well, was that the game when they played the extra 20 minutes or 30 minutes?
30 minutes. Yeah. They did a line change and brought in they had lost at that point. It was 3-1 before the 30th.
It was either 2-1 or it was 1-1. I don't think it was that bad. Regardless, I think they were trying some things. I think they were bringing out some different players. I think it's positive. I haven't seen anything in any sort of highlight of a goal where, and again, limited what we've seen, but when we've seen bad goals, like I think the one against Colorado, I think the player out there was an academy player who sort of gives up the ball, gets one-on-one on the keeper. Maybe you want Kim to do a little better there, but I'm not going to stress him too much on a one-on-one situation. So
the season starts now for us knowing who these players are and what they're doing. That's now we can be real about it. So now after this weekend, I can make broad proclamations about Boris now again, I'm sure.
Yeah. Regardless, I asked you to do some specific predictions, so we're going to hold your feet to that.
I got that.
Let's talk about a player incoming that I think fans might be a little bit excited about. Gavin Turner was as sort of, if you've been tracking as much as you have, and if you do, you are either on the DC United Discord or I question your sanity. People have been tracking him. He apparently went off to Crystal Palace, was training in England, probably just looking to see, what kind of offer he could get. Either those offers didn't come or just wasn't really coming together. And so I guess he had DC's offer on the table. He had committed freshman year to UVA, but it seems pretty clear based on his movement, like, he wants to go play professional. I do wonder if the trade for Ted Pietro was maybe like an indication of like, oh, okay, there's an opportunity here. There's one more player sort of out there, and I could go, and I'm basically potentially the backup number 10 to Gabriel Pirani. So I think that could have played a role in like, the coach saying, hey, look, you're going to get opportunities. So he has had some injuries. He's been young, 60 matches for Loudoun United, so he does have some pro experience. I think this is a kid you can be intrigued by this year. You've got some specific predictions related to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all going to be kind of wait and see. I can't say I've seen him much at Loudoun United. Maybe I could go dig and find some games or some game tape of sort of how he's played. I mean, you maybe follow a little more closely. Has it been significant minutes, or has it been kind of just like spot appearances
for Loudoun?
For Loudoun, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It wouldn't be a consistent run in the side that he'd be in and out, either injuries or he'd be playing with the U18s whenever there was a tournament there. So I'm excited about it. There's not any other young players to be excited about anymore on DC United. They've all been sold. So I think there's an opportunity, potentially if there was more than the Open Cup, if we were in Leagues Cup and Open Cup or Leagues Cup and Champions League and the league, then there'd be more opportunities for him. But we'll see. Things might bust loose. He's a promising player. People are interested in watching him compete against grown-ups.
Yeah, I'm clipping that, by the way, and sending it right to Jackson Hopkins. saying there's no other players that are excited about it.
Listen, Jackson Hopkins needs to be on the field, and then I can talk about him. There's no one that wants to talk about him more. You know this.
Hey man, I want to give him some motivation. Some motivation.
Yeah, that's right. Put it on him and Pirani could put like a very long tape. Well, Pirani could put a very long tape up on the wall. In fact, I have said so much. I know this is not true, but like he's like posting all this stuff on his Instagram, and it's like a picture of him going like shh, and it's like the season's here. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, he's probably talking about me. He's talking about me. He just wants to shove it in my face. Somebody told him about it. But yeah, no, I think Jackson Hopkins. Please, Jackson Hopkins, let me talk about you. I want to be as optimistic about you as Ted is about the entire team. That's how I'm going to approach this year.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see a young talent coming in. I'm glad we're sort of keeping that round going.
2 in, 1 out, or 2 out, 1 in. We gotta find some more.
Yeah. Other news sort of coming down the pipeline, soccer related. I think that one that's gotten a little bit of traction, a little bit of discussion. I think outside groups. is USL apparently, while they were also going after NWSL with the USL Super League, are now targeting MLS with Division One league that they are targeting, with talking about doing what the third rail of American soccer, something that's always been talked about, which is promotion and relegation. I have some interesting feelings about this. I think there's a lot of questions, 10, 15 years ago. I think this could have had some interesting promise. I think without promotion and relegation, I think they need to do promotion and relegation, because otherwise, what is the draw here?
Correct.
So I hope that is in. I know you hear these press releases, you hear it all the time. Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And then it never happens. They were supposed to do this a while back. They were supposed to have promotion relegation between Championship and D3. There was supposed to be like a league in the middle that they were going to kind of do. I think the people in charge of the league have talked about, well, we wish we were already doing this. Like, we wish it was already set, and then we could have a D1. I think some organizations are just still not quite comfortable with going forward with that. But I think it seems like now they're starting, it's kind of like, we're doing this, get on board or join MLS Next Pro. What
get ready to join MLS Next Pro, buddy.
Probably is the notion. There's a lot of people saying, and I think I've seen some reports online of a lot of people being like, oh man, MLS should be scared. They're bringing pro rel. This is gonna. I don't think MLS is right now at all scared. I think there is a potential for some competition, as they grow, and I think competition is good between the leagues.
MLS needs it. Yeah. MLS needs competition. MLS, there's nothing they need more than another option sneaking up their tail, because there's nothing that's going to move the entrenched owners at the bottom of the table that don't want to spend than a threat. So the USL Championship and this new league is very, very far from being that threat yet. But I don't think anything else creates a threat like a pro rel situation in American soccer. People will gravitate towards it, and not just to the people who have been using the hashtag for a million years on Twitter. I think it will attract some casual fans. I think it will attract fans of European soccer. My perspective on it is that the pyramid is already too large to like have. You can be not a USL pyramid fan if they have another league on top of this. Are they talking about doing a large scale expansion as well, or just converting championship, making the championship smaller?
I think that's the idea. So right now I think they're like some close to 30 teams in the championship. So there's talk about like 12 to 14 teams. So your Sacramentos, your Detroits, your Louisvilles, your maybe Miami. So talking about those teams in sort of markets that have stadiums, like Louisville has their own soccer specific stadium. I think there's a lot of push to like raise the bar. I think there are a lot of teams that like, play in baseball stadiums, and, this is an idea to sort of, get them ingrained. My question is always, I'll believe it when I see it, because I think owners tend to get, my question is, I think if you start this Division 1, you can do a season and say, okay, we're just getting this thing kicked off the ground. But as the years and years go on and owners start to get comfortable and some of the owners don't want to compete, what happens? How do you kick off those training wheels and actually start having promotion relegation? I think would be the key. The thing I always have in promotion relegation, and why I've wanted to see it sort of in the championship and in D1, is because there is no, the money is the reason, or the drop in money would be the reason why a team would fail. And we're seeing it happen in England now. There are teams that are careening through and just like dropping and dropping and dropping, and then they fall. You don't hear about them too much, but there are clubs that have failed. It's not like a pure, people think, oh, this is a system that no club fails because there's pro rel and there's the opportunity to get up. Clubs do fail.
Sure. But I think here's the difference. I think that when your entire USL pyramid is all just ESPN Plus, typically the problem why you fall and careen down the pyramid and get in financial trouble is you are banking on media money and escalator money, and then spending beyond your means and then not getting it. If it really is sort of like, it is real in the sense that they're going to change leagues, but from a perception standpoint, it really is going to be the same. They're going to play in the same stadium They're going to have the same amount of fans. There's no one that goes to a Colorado Springs game that when they're in the USL Championship that won't go if they're all of a sudden in League One. No one will care. They're going to be there because it's the local soccer. So they're not good. So that's why I think they can certainly do this. There's not a huge, there's not a catastrophic loss to capital inherent in going from Championship down to League One. So if it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen here. But it seems it's because of that. It's sort of there's kind of like training wheels on it.
Yeah.
So.
Alternatively, someone says USL collapses like the NSL while trying to plug too many holes to keep the dam from bursting. Look, NASL, I think if anything of what you've seen, yes, there have been ownership groups that have come in. The Lansing Ignite will always be like a sore, like that is an ownership group that very clearly like didn't care. I still recall like watching a game with Richmond and one of the Richmond players literally picking up like a piece of the turf and just being like, what is this? There are bad owners, but I think USL should be commended for they have a lot more good owners and good ownership groups than a lot of other leagues. And yes, there are some teams that have closed shop through a number of reasons, but there is far less of that dropping and that complete and utter like the owners that you just knew. There's no San Francisco Deltas, there's no Rio OKC in the NASL. They use a lot better.
I forgot about that team.
We did get a question and we didn't put this in the chat. Random question. This is from Conscript Arms says, random question, but opinions on DC United's new away kit. I think it's a great away kit. I really like the away kit. It's with the template. I think all the kits are with the template. I think they did as good a job as they could with the actual template. And I think it kind of works pretty well. I'll be curious to see how it looks on the field. So I like it.
I also like it.
Yeah, it's a cool kit. I love the we're a long way away from the Granite kit, which was very clearly like, okay,
I also like that one too, by the way.
It's an okay kit, but it definitely was like stretching. I feel like that was just like they kind of, that template looks good. This one I love appealing to sort of the funk and soul of the city. DC's referred to Chocolate City for a reason. I thought that was a nice little catch to sort of pay tribute to that. So I think it's a good kit.
Like the blue numbers on the marble kit. That was what I liked about that. They kind of popped. But I'll probably buy one. I don't think I'm going to look great in cream. I have the cream Chelsea jersey. Not really my thing. Doesn't really go with my pinkish complexion, but who knows? Maybe once they're not $190 for authentic, I'll buy one.
This can't be worse the way Nisa went out, though. And I say, yeah, fair. Nisa was supposed to be the NWSL like division that would be below them, and they're both just careening down the pit. Come on, Maryland Bobcats, just go to League One or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's continue. We've been previewing every spot on the field for DC United, and now we're getting to the forwards. We've got Christian Benteke, Dominic Baji, Jacob Murrell. We might have talked about Hakeem Karamoko as a midfielder. Transfer Market had him as a forward. Again, he'll be sports hernia. He'll be out. He's listed as sort of an attacker. Obviously, we can maybe throw in Gavin Turner to that, but we kind of already discussed that. Biggest questions, can Benteke do it again? I know where you're going to fall, John. We're previewing your predictions. This season really does, though, rely on him. He needs, I would say, 15 plus goals for this team to be successful. I'm hopeful that this year there won't be the expectation that he needs to go out and like against Atlanta and put out a hat trick to allow us to win the game. That he can go and just score maybe 1 or 2 goals, and then defensively we can kind of hold serve and keep it closer. I think that'll be the judge of success. Like maybe he scores less goals, but there is not the need for him to put in a golden boot caliber season because other players are contributing goals. Other teams are finding ways to get the ball in the back of the net, and also defensively the team is looking better and is able to sort of keep themselves in games. So that's the ultimate question. You do not think that will happen, John, do you?
I don't think so. I think it's hard for a player to repeat over 20 goal seasons consecutively, and that's what's being talked about here. Can you do that again? I think his the great skill that he has, I think someone talked about it already. the skill that he's not going to become shorter. So that's a good point here. Someone says if your whole game plan revolves around getting the ball to a big forward, there are worse guys to boot it to than Benteke. That's absolutely right. I think that I think he's great for that. I just don't know that he can repeat what he's done, and I don't know that we have filled the team with complementary goal scorers in a way that allows us to have as many net goals. I think we've put ourselves in a position to give up less goals, and that's important in this whole thing. But I don't think he can do it again. I think the thing that crushes me here is Jacob Murrell is the most hard done guy by not having an MLS Next Pro team. Probably, I don't follow the rest of the league that closely, but he's a guy that should be playing 90 minutes. As a young player who's he's finishing up his college. He's got great natural ability. When he does play, he looks energetic but raw, like he needs the time to and have those minutes. So that's what he should be doing. But if they're going to play a 4-2-3-1, as you intimate, there's not really a great spot for him. I don't think he does excellent. I think he's a 9. I think that's where he should be. But I can't imagine a universe in which he's starting in the 9. What's if he's done that, Benteke's hurt and he's spelling Baji. Because Baji goes in if Benteke is out.
What I will say is this team is set up to play a 4-2-3-1. From what we have heard is that their wingers are going to play narrow. So they're going to tuck in, along with the side, and they're going to get their width a lot from their wingbacks, get a lot from David Schnegg or Aaron Herrera. There is a scenario when if you're chasing a game or you're going to get a goal, you can slot him in as sort of, in for a Pirani, let's say, and play a 4-2-2-2 and sort of have a, midfield line play extremely narrow, but you're going to try to funnel the ball there. I think that's probably possibly where he tries to slot in when we're chasing a game, when we're chasing a goal. That's where you'll see him. That's where you'll see him do it. If Pirani saves the game, will you get his number on a soul kit? I tell you what, if Pirani wins the team MVP, I think John should be forced to buy not just the cheap kit. He should be able to buy the full $200 kit with the name and number and everything.
If only I would have bought season tickets. And that we had to not talk about this. We have to talk about this. This is screwing up our rundown. But I talked about this on my appearance on the other show. This broke in between episodes. I got a call from a DC United ticket rep telling me about, hey, have you heard the good news? This great promotion we're running. And I did already hear it because I am on Discord and I'm a DC United sicko. What they're doing this year is they're I don't know if it's called betting on ourselves. I don't know what the promo is called. I think it's called something like that. If you don't make if DC United does not make the playoffs this year, you get back 30% of the money you spent on your ticket. Not in cash, to be clear. You do not get it back. You get it as ticket credit for 2026. So it's kind of like when you go to a restaurant.
Ticket credit? Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant and get sick and then they give you a coupon to eat at the restaurant again. That's kind of what it's like. It's like, hey, you're bet against this. Come back. Please come back, buy more tickets, but it'll be cheaper for you next year.
That's I don't know what I think about that, but I thought this was actually they would actually refund you 30%. No, it's it's ticket credit. Okay,
that money is spent. As soon as it's sort of I compared it on that show. It's like when you're at a Wizards game and you're losing by 50, and all you want is someone to miss 2 free throws so you get free chicken nuggets. So I think if it goes a certain way, at decision day could be, or maybe not decision day, probably a couple of games beforehand. It's like, hey, we're not going to really make it far anyway, so let's just give a big coupon. It's just to someone's point here. It's weird to have fans rooting against some fans financially rewarded for the team not making it to the next round. It's not good.
All right, yeah, that's that. I think
Sorry,
it's
I forgot about it. I got to make sure we include that.
I think you were speculating. On the show. You were speculating. Does this mean? I think it just means they're struggling to sell season tickets, so they are trying everything they can to get season tickets. Season tickets through. We did get some questions. I did want to touch on this one from it's Cameron Walkup. So he says, "What are your thoughts? Colorado paying Seattle up to $1.6 million in GAM over 2 years for Atencio. who's been less productive than Ted and not a U22 initiative player. Did Colorado overpay here, or did DC and I get less than they should have for Teku DiPietro? I think it's important to speculate. Like, this is $650 in GAM this year, $650 in GAM next year, and then an additional $300 in GAM. So again, GAM is now GAM does not expire anymore. So it is, you get the money, you keep it. I will say, like, the 1.2 million in cash. And I was trying to see how old this player was and see exactly, like, is he younger or no? He might be a little bit older. I think you can lose your head a little bit with that. I think this is straight cash. I think this is cash that DC, and I think it's going to play into one of my predictions, which maybe you file under the wild predictions, but I put it under the specific prediction. But I think this is playing in a little bit. I think that 1.2 million can be used however you want. You have more freedom with that. You can use it to buy down GAM. You can use it to invest other places in the roster. So I think if I was Ali Mackay, I'm looking at straight cash. I think GAM is kind of funny money in sort of a speaks, in that it just gives you the ability to kind of expand out the roster. You get a little more choices with the cash you get. Let's get into, before we get into our predictions, let's do we got some fan predictions. Brandon Zabron. And again, if you ever listened to the Total Soccer Show, they do a very specific prediction segment. So these are kind of like some unique predictions, things we're thinking about. We have to be as specific as we can with them. And then we have a couple wild predictions just for fun.
We did this last year too. Maybe this time we'll revisit them. I don't remember what we did. If someone wants to go back, I'll give someone $1. If they go, I will Venmo you a shiny dollar if you go back to our preseason podcast last year.
Specific prediction: Kojima, from Brendan Zabron. Kojima has an equal number of goals and assists, ideally 4 or 5 each. And specific. Then wild prediction: Merle and Gavin Turner will both have more goal contributions than Ted Q has for Colorado.
That's a hater. That's a hater-ass prediction. That's what that is.
RGN DC says DC United earns 50 points this season, and DC United will win 3 Open Cup matches. So I think that would put them in the semifinals, quarterfinals, around there. I think I almost had that as one of my predictions, like a run to the semifinal. And then his wild prediction is head coach Troy Lesesne gets serious consideration for MLS Coach of the Year. That is a good wild prediction, man. Love the positivity. I don't know if we got any. I did put a call in on our Discord. Let me just see it. I did not check our Discord.
We had a lot of Blue Sky questions too.
Yeah, we had a lot of blue. We'll get to those in a little bit. We get to our predictions, and then we'll get to the questions.
All right,
let's do it. Do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
Yeah, you start. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe I should start. To keep we have got a good number of live viewers right now, so I'll go first, and then you can finish it up to save the day. Make people feel a little better about it. All right. So my 4 predictions, I guess. 1, an injury crisis will hit again, and this team will have 2 goalkeepers on the bench for a league game to make up numbers once again. We have added more players, but I just have a bad feeling about the Lesesne ball for a full season with the players that he wants. I'm slightly concerned. That's number 1. Number 2, Benteke's production faces a steep drop off, finishing the year with 13 goals, which is still pretty good, but not good enough for a team that has not added another double-digit scorer to complement him. 3rd, Gavin Turner will get 200 league minutes due to injuries and to his readiness to contribute, which would be pretty good. 200 minutes would be more. It would be about as much as Dominic Baji has had, or 2/3 as much. I'm gonna bump that up to 300 minutes. So on the fly, we'll say 300 minutes for Gavin Turner. And my wild prediction is Benteke is seeking a move in the summer window due to a poor start, faltering production, and to fights with Troy Lesesne in the locker room. I just added that part. The vibes get so bad and toxic that he wants out of here towards the end of his career. He doesn't want to waste another half season outside of the playoffs. That's my. So granted, those are all negative. Those are very, very negative. If we beat Toronto 4-0 on Saturday, you're going to get a different John on Monday. This is the one you got right now.
All right, let's end with some positivity. So here's my prediction: DC will sign a DP number 10 within 2 weeks of the summer window opening. So I am looking at that Teku DiPietro trade with the 1 million in GAM, and I'm like, okay, so they can take that. They can go take that, and they can go get the $1 million in GAM that they would get if they kept the 2-4 get plus GAM rule. They traded away a U22 player that gives them open room to sign another U22 player and to go sign a designated player. So I am thinking that they are looking at that summer window as the opportunity to really make their move to bring in a big name player. I think they've made some moves to try to open up that slot. So this is according to American Soccer Analysis. DC United had a goals against and an expected goals against of -18. They were right around 50, and then they gave up 68 goals. I thought that was 70, but American Soccer Analysis had them at 68. So I'm not sure if they're calculating. But -18, -20, however you do that. I have DC United will have no worse than -5 between their expected goals against versus their actual goals against.
So you think the defense is going to just go crazy good this year?
I think
the
it'll
goal
be
scoring, more the stopping goals.
I think -5 is an improvement, but maybe betting that they're going to be maybe not quite there yet. I don't think -5 is fantastic.
No.
You want to be kind of right around 0 or better, obviously. So I am saying that I don't think they will. I'm saying that I do not think it's a bold prediction. Kanjami scores more goals than Parati. I don't think that's a bold prediction. I really don't. I think I'm on the Kanjami high train. I don't think that's bold. But yeah, I think their defense will be improved. I think they're going to have a significant improvement. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about that one. And then my other one, DC United will enter decision day, controlling their destiny to make the playoffs,
like last year.
Yes. Will they make the playoffs? I don't know. I need to look at who their opponent is.
That's not one of the predictions. You don't get to ask him that.
So there's my predictions. I did my wild prediction. Kim Jung Hong will be a finalist for MLS Young Player of the Year. That is my wild prediction. We'll see how wild that is.
We won't have it on here, but I was listening to Soccer Wise this week because they had Greg Roche from Pitch Pass on to Preview DC United, and they looked at the over-under points. The projection right now I think Andrew Wiebe set the line at 39.5 points. You think over or under that? And also, do you think that makes the playoffs, whatever the number you're going to say is? I guess so.
I think over, and I am going to choose to be hopeful. I'm going to say they sneak into that 9 spot and make the playoffs.
I think also over, but by like a point. I think like 40 or 41, and I think they do not make the playoffs because the rest of the bottom has improved. I think what Greg, if you listen to that, if you listen to Pitch Pass this week, we have very similar views on a lot of things. If you listen to that, you will have heard things that I have said, and they heard things that he has said are very, very similar. So, yeah,
I think he comes off a little more positive than
me right now
than you are. But so, and here's the thing, I every year, and here's what I'll say about predictions. Every year, everybody jumps onto the train of like the team that wins the offseason, the team that makes the most exciting signings. Let me tell you, there are going to be 1 or 2 teams, maybe even more, that they are going to seem very exciting. They're going to get all the plaudits, like a certain Toronto FC did when they signed Insigne, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to be so good. They're swinging for the fences. What a fantastic signing!" And
Bob Bradley was very proud of that.
It was an absolute unmitigated disaster. They still have Insigne on their roster. They have given him offers. They have found offers for this guy. Please just go. We will pay your contract out. Go to Italy, go to Spain. And he's like, no. He has literally been you talk about how bad the Click trade was, or people talk about bad it is. At least we don't have a player that literally just is like, does not want to be here, but also is clearly, I think, just trying to be spiteful at this point.
Hopefully my wild prediction does not come true, and then we will we might have one.
But we'll see. All right, let's get some questions. RGN, you asked a bunch of questions, buddy.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I think we're just going to go with, I think you're the one who asked the most questions. I think we'll see if we get any more. But question for the show: who do you think will have the biggest impact for DC United this season? We'll say Christian Benteke.
Yep. We'll put him to the side.
Who else other than Christian Benteke?
It's going to be June or Herrera if he stays healthy.
I'll say, I'm going to take Herrera too, and I'll put him to the side, and I'll come up with another one. I'm going to say Kojima. I think Kojima. I'm on that hype train, buddy. I'm on that hype train.
You are. Don't buy his jersey.
And then a question also from RGN says, which player joined DC9 2024 do you think will improve the most?
Oh, from last year to this year?
Yeah.
Can I say David Schnegg, or is that illegal because he played like 2 games?
We'll say him and then set him to the side because I think he was injury.
From year to year, it's tough. I would have. It's better be Borisino.
Yeah,
that's who it better
be a name.
That's my thought.
I have Matty Petola on my list. He's coming off injury. Sounds like he's getting up to fitness. I think he is a player I got really excited about last year when I watched him play. When I watched him play for Finland, he played for his Finnish club. I mean, he was like one of the best players out there on the field. I think he is still a strong player. I think he's a player who will improve massively just from being here a season, getting acclimated to the weather. I think he is a Goss theorem type player that will have a big boost for next year. And I don't think his last season was particularly that bad. Outside of Christian Benteke, who will be the next two? If Ted gets his jersey, does not mean a player gets hurt.
Yeah, Dwayne asking, I'm making repeated references to telling Ted not to buy a Kojima jersey. And he asks does that mean the player gets hurt? If you look in Ted's closet at the back of the jerseys, you're going to see a lot of players who don't play for DC United anymore.
I got, let's see, Acosta in 2018. So he stayed around till the next year and then left. I got Paul Arriola, and this is the 2021, I think, kit. So I think he was gone the next year. I got Click. I have the XDC, so it was 2023. So he was technically back in 2024. So it's been the nature. Do
you have a Cuti Pietro too?
I do not. Okay. I was considering that as my new jersey, and I think I'm gonna play it safe with the jersey this year.
Safe? Who's safe right now?
The safe move, in my opinion, has been Benteke because at least
for this year, at least probably, yeah, right?
Yeah. So he's probably that's the safe pick of a player who's I don't know. I don't want to pick a player.
Maybe you don't get it. Put your name on it. Put your own name on it.
I can't do that, man. I can't do that.
I know that's lame. I agree.
All right, outside of Christian Benteke, who will be the next two most prolific scorers on the team?
That's hard.
I will say there's an argument to be made for Pirani, and I will say I'm continuing the Kojima hype train and saying Kojima. I think there's an argument to be made for Pirani. Pirani doesn't assist, but when he gets in front of net, he scores goals. The guy had 6 goals last year off the bench. I think it's a big year for him. Can he be a provider? But he does score goals, and I think we've seen that from him. So Jared Stroud also would be a good call out, but
yeah. I don't want to answer this question. I don't like the mind frame it puts me in. Yeah, I guess I was going to say Pirani and I was going to say Stroud, but I don't think Stroud's really a prolific goal scorer. Watch it be someone like Lucas Bartlett off of corners
or Peglo. Yeah, Peglo could be that. What do you give me a question? Do you think we will have another scenario this year where it is Benteke on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goals, and then another player, all these other players on 1 goal until when give me a prediction. When do you think we will have a player other than Benteke get their second goal?
Second goal could happen relative. Let me look at the schedule real quick. How many games we got in February? We have 1 game in February. I think like the game against Orlando, I think Benteke will have like 4 or 5, and then somebody's gonna have 2, but then that's gonna be all they're gonna get. Pirani's gonna get 2. Pirani will get his second goal in Orlando and then not score for the rest of the year. That's my thought. Something like that.
Realistic goal totals. I don't know what in reference you're looking for from this question, RGN. I gotta be
for the team.
I don't know if he's talking about the team. I don't know if he's talking about the player. I'm not sure what he's talking about.
What's the next question?
It says who will lead the show and who will lead the DC United in assists for 2025?
Jared Stroud or Herrera.
I'm Kojima, man. I'm
All
Kojima
right.
hyping it, buddy.
all
Was
all
it-
the
was it-
chips are on. All the chips.
All right. I think that's gonna do it. We don't think we had much else in the Discord. Oh yeah, I think we're talking about the DCK in Philly. We'll end on this note because I will end it for you, John. DC has had some amazing all-time sad stats. And when the team is the leading goal scorer, 2013 was own goal. Our saddest stat of the year was probably goals conceded. Who do you think the team's saddest stat will be?
What do we think the team's saddest stat will be this year? Oh,
I think it'll be Pirani's chance creation,
Ooh.
where he sits on that on that. We'll pull up his expected assists. And
I'm gonna say it's cards picked up by Boris.
Okay,
I think he's gonna be a card magnet.
Okay. Well, and let's do it. We got the game against Toronto. Let's do a quick little prediction.
I'm gonna probably later this week do a quick rundown on I'll do a Patreon episode for doing a preview about what Toronto looks like this from this offseason. But we can do a score prediction now. We can do that for the non-Patreon subscribers.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, Toronto's a little bit of a mess.
Mhm.
They are the New York Mets. They are like a team that
With no Juan Soto.
Spends all this money. They'll go out and buy Juan Soto. They'll go out and buy Insigne. And sometimes it comes together, man. Sometimes they get Bradley, they get Altidore, they get who was the guy, the ant? Like he was like Javinko, and it just all comes together. They play great soccer. They go out, they win a championship, and then a lot of the other times it looks like how it has looked the past couple of years.
They lost Ali Curtis and Tim Bezbachenko, man.
Yeah, so they've cleared house there. I think that's been a large part of it. They still have Insigne on his roster. I do not expect him to make the match day roster. I think he is holding out from it's done. They want him out of here.
Did he get a red card against DC United, or did he not play against DC United?
He played in
Bernadeschi played and scored.
2023, he played, and I think he got injured like in the first few minents in 2023.
That's right. He was. That was like his first being back from injury. I think
that's the Ted Koo game. For those that saying there. So this is a team that's a little bit messed. They are, for some reason, man. Their current Robin Fraser is like a glutton for punishment when it comes to choosing his teams to coach. I think he could be a great coach, and he's put together some good teams.
You put him on a short list for DC United when we were hiring.
But he is the guy who like takes a coaching job because it's a top level coaching job, and I'm like, buddy, man. I mean, just pick the right, get in a good situation. Go to USL. Get in a good situation, and then you can look, man. Build up, because I mean, I think this is a guy who probably could be out of a job again middle of the season, like if things don't get together. I think they were anticipating like Insigne being gone, them getting a DP, but they can't. He's literally like stuck like a massive anchor on their roster. So
I would think the expectations aren't that high, though.
They aren't, but I mean, this is like a team that's known by Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. Massive conglomerate. They've spent money in the past. They have a fan base that wants success. Maybe expectations aren't so high this year, but I mean, if this team is sitting bottom of the table, like, do you think Robin Fraser is still going to be around? Probably not.
Who are they going to bring in? They're firing coaches every other year now. John Herdman got 1 year.
That's why. Well, this is why I don't think you're going to see Insigne on the roster, because I don't think you even want to throw that type of player out there. He is, for all intents and purposes, probably like he's allowed to use the training facilities. He is persona non grata with the team. Like he's not
Ravel Morrison.
Yeah, exactly.
On more money.
Yeah, but they can't. They have to register him, I think. So
he won't be training with friends in Belgium in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that'll do it. Prediction. What do you got?
Well, let's see. I'll go 2-0 DC United.
3-1, 2 goals from Benteke, and then a goal from Pirani.
All right.
Let's say. So we'll see who's right.
Not both on the positive side. I can't start the season with a loss to
It's
Toronto. That will set me up to be very, very annoying for a while.
we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I think like this might be the only game DC enters as like the favorites. Like
I know. I know. This is the one game you do not want to. Well, you don't want to bet MLS generally, but definitely don't bet DC United in this game. This will be the worst one to do it.
yeah.
They're going to be like negative 130 to win. And be like, no, don't, do not.
All right, let's get to a team that I think both of us are extremely positive on, and that they keep just making moves. They're going crazy. First and foremost, talking about the Washington Spirit. First of all, congrats to Andy Sullivan and Drew Skundrich. We should also throw Drew in there. Andy Sullivan announcing that she is pregnant with their first kid, and so she very clearly probably won't be on the roster much this year. But yeah, it's all good news as far as that goes.
Yeah, her dog. From experience, her dog Instagram content's about to go way down. It's about to be all babies. So sorry, dog. Hope you had your time to shine because it's about to be over. But again, Andy Sullivan as a part owner of RFK Refugees, we're very, very excited for the family to expand.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Miura pickup, the Narumi Miura pickup is even bigger now. That it's going to be a full season. So great for her. And now the team is trying to prepare to figure out ways to sort of make sure that the middle of the field works out. So great news for her. And the team is going to have to pick up the slack.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think the team, there was a cool announcement both with Loudoun United and with the Spirit. So that was really cool to see a lot of the hype up from both teams.
It's interesting. They're like the Spirit have not had like a player with a young child since I've been following a team. Obviously, Casey Kruger has her kid around but as far as like born on the Spirit, basically like a Spirit baby, this will be I think the first one, at least publicly. So very cool. Yeah. And I like to see it. And to your point too, I like to see in the Drew video inside the Loudoun locker room. Very much not Loudoun United's locker room. I was like, that's nice. And I was like, oh, they're away. They're on training. That's why. They wouldn't have done this in the closet.
Well, their game against Richmond got canceled. So that due to the snow. So that would have been fun to see. Could have given the Drew Skundrich the sticker for
the salad sticker for Drew.
Sticker.
So Ted reference players continuing to be signed by the Spirit. That is what's happening. They've signed a player named Keisha Silla on a 1-year loan from Lyon, who did not play very much last year, subbed on in 2 matches. Last year had 3 starts. Probably going to be depth, maybe be another loan. We talked about the loans last week, I believe. The team is pursuing a strategy. It's interesting that I don't think has been done before, because they're basically using USL Super League as like their international reserve league, basically. But they're not going to DC Power. They're going Dallas Trinity appears to be the landing spot of preferred. So we'll see if either of these players end up there. And then I said either. The other player is Shadia Nankia from FC Masar in Egypt. Paid a transfer fee for her. 27 matches, 3 goals, Uganda national team player. So a little bit more established in her career than the other previous signings that were made in defense. So we'll see if she sticks with the roster. I would say she's probably the stronger bet to stick with the Spirit for the year. As a defender with 3 goals. So we like that. You like to see that. And then there's still one more player that's rumored that we can't talk about it as a fully confirmed signing, although it's been talked about enough, where Rebecca Bernal from Monterey will also be coming to the Washington Spirit. So the back line, it was a weak point and was a thing where like, I don't really know what I don't know if they've done enough in the center back. They've done a lot now. We'll see how the entire thing shakes out, because they've added a lot of bodies to that part of the field.
It's like that Simpsons episode with the Robo Wars, and all the NWSL teams are like, Spirit are tough, but I think I found their weakest point. And then he bolts on like spikes on his like bottom, and then it's like, oh no, his biggest point just became his strongest point. I'm not sure if that's the same thing, but
exact same thing. I think it's the same thing. I think that's a great analogy.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. All right, forwards. Let's talk forwards. You lead off, my friend.
I'll lead off. So on the way out the door, Savannah Kuhlman, a player who could not stay on the field, a player with cursed knees, has been let go. I don't think she's caught on anywhere yet. Lena Solano, a player that Ted talked about a lot last year, liked the way she played. Thinks she scored 2 goals in her Spirit career. Signed with I think it's Tenerife. It's like a place where people go vacation in Spain. So good for her. It'll be a nice place to play. She'll start. I'm not sure if she'll start, but she should get a lot more minutes than she did for the Spirit. So happy about that. But that's who came out. I don't think there have not been any additions, new players to go into this space, but that's probably because it's a pretty strong part of the side. Trinity Rodman, we've talked already about in the offseason, the rumors about, is she going to leave? Is she going to go to Arsenal? Is she going to go to, where else was it? Man, what was the other team that was?
Chelsea was in.
That's right.
Chelsea
and Arsenal
was engaged.
Yeah. We'll see. 8 goals, 6 assists in 1,761 minutes. 7.1 xG, so overperformed an xG. 8.5 assists xAG. So the only problem about her season last year, there were some injuries. Happened at the worst time.
It was it was match load. They had the Olympics the past season, so I think there was some certain match loads that won't be around. I don't think. Yeah, there's nothing this year, nothing really international. So hopefully, strong season, solid season. No big international other than sort of the breaks
and contract extension.
Yeah, and a contract extension would be really nice.
McKenna Morris, 5 goals, 2 assists in only 536 minutes, 4.8 xG, great statistics, a wonderful player, a revelation of a player who I don't believe was anticipated by fans to have the impact that she did. I think it's great. I think she is. They're very lucky to have her. They've picked up her option. She was the one player out of the rookies that it seemed like wasn't going to have, obviously, because Hal and Croy had such an amazing beginning of the season. You're like, well, there's not going to be another one. This other one, I think she came. I don't know if she didn't come from Clemson. I forget what team she played for in college, but I did not think that she was going to have the impact that she did. But I think that only more minutes for her are going to help. I think they have to make that a priority. Ule, go. Were you going to say what school she went to? Is that what you're looking at?
No. I was looking up for one of the other players we're going to talk about.
Ule Sar, 8 goals, 2 assists in 1,328 minutes, 8.5 xG. Still not training. Still has a long-term back injury. She missed the entire playoffs and also the run-up to the playoffs as well. I think that is that has to be solved. They have to figure that out. What is her long-term availability going to be? Mm-hmm. Still don't really know what the injury is. Just that it's her back. That's all we know.
Yeah. Brittany Ratcliffe, 3 goals. I think came in, did a yeoman's work. I expect her to still be kind of on the depth off the bench. And then Rose Kawasi, 0 goals, 2 assists, 552 minutes. Player who likes to run. The FB ref we were talking is it makes her look like glowingly, compares her to Trinity Rodman. I don't know if I really see it. It's impressive, looking at these goal stats, how this team really, they didn't have as good as their offense was. They did not really have they had their highest goal scorer had 8 goals. And again,
she got her wishes.
And Ashley Hatch, 7 goals, 3 assists. Player who's certainly going to be in the roster now, especially with SARS considered a long-term injury. I think there were some questions from us about whether she would be there.
Yep.
Chloe Ricketts, 0 minutes. Your thing is please loan her.
Yes. If you're going to sign players that you have not even seen and loan them out, free Chloe. Give her an opportunity to play somewhere. She just drives me crazy.
Well, here's the thing. So I think so. Right now she is 17 years old. If you read the article, there's a lot of protection that they are trying to give her because she is under the age of 18. She has her own separate locker room, own separate facilities. She trains, and but she has her own sort of private area for very good reasons. There's been a lot going on in the WSL that is to protect her. I think that is potentially what could be holding back any type of loan, because if you're going to loan her, you are certainly going to want to make sure that there is the same situation. Does a USL Super League team willing to accommodate that type of setup? So I think that could be the reason why.
She'll be 18 in May, by the way.
Yeah.
So June window. Free
maybe look for a potential loan in that window. Of course, the Super League will be, I think, mostly done by then.
There you go.
So it'll probably be August if we're looking at a loan to the Super League. But I think that could be. Yes, I agree. I think a loan should happen. I think you also want to make sure that she stays safe, and she's only 17, so maybe there's an opportunity for some more minutes here as sort of the season goes on. There's going to be a lot more players on the roster. Lacey Santos called up. We should also mention Terry McKeown making the She Believes Cup roster, which is very cool to see. I'm very excited to watch her in those matches. So there's going to be international clubs. This is a stacked team, a very good team. There's going to be gaps in this roster. And I almost think clearing out Solano, clearing out Coleman, to me, loaning out some of the other players that they've loaned out indicates that there might be an opportunity for her to maybe get some minutes and make some appearances.
Maybe. Hopefully. I hope so. As you referenced, Tara McKeown on the U.S. roster, Lacey and Narumi are also in the She Believes Cup, which is starting this Thursday. Gabby Carl playing again for Canada against China and Mexico in the Pinatar Cup, and Esme Morgan in the UFA Nations League against Portugal and Spain. There's an article by Annie Elliott on the District Press that you can go find that should have, when we have all of them, the links to where you can watch these games. The She Believes Cup you can find pretty easily, but the other two will be a little more challenging. But yeah, hopefully all those players have great tournaments, preseason tournaments, come back healthy.
Healthy.
When is the season start again? March
7th. Well, March 7th will be the She Believes Cup, or not She Believes Cup, the Challenge Cup game against Orlando. So the preseason tournament,
Community Shield.
Yeah, Community Shield type tournament for
we're in it, right? It's Spirit against Orlando, right?
Spirit against Orlando, because Spirit won the Shield and then also won the tournament. And so we come up as second runner-up to either one of those. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to watching the season. And I think I'm looking forward to the Spirit. I think they should come out contenders this year. So they'll be certainly a fun team to watch. So if DC United are terrible,
if I'm right,
if John is right, which again I think we're closer to each other on where we maybe think this team will fall than maybe we're letting on with this episode.
Yeah.
I am not predicting this team is going to be top 5 in the league. I am saying they're going to be between 7th and 9th. John might be saying, 9th maybe, but most likely
between
10th,
9th
11th.
And Spoon.
Yeah, between 9th and Spoon. Again, I will say what I say always, people like predictions. A lot of it's based on excitement. A lot of it's based on vibes. No one on MLS Soccer, David Goss, I think even if you ask them, how much have you watched of any of the players that have played for DC, they will say, nobody. So I think that's something always to keep in mind. And the
K-League aficionados,
the people in the room, Ali Mackay and the coaches have watched probably infinitely more of the players they have signed than some of the other players.
You'd hope.
I think I'm right.
I think you're right.
I don't think there's any hope about it. We'll see.
Nope.
Fun season, guys. Enjoy the wild predictions. Give us some more of your wild predictions. We'll retweet them. We'll do everything like that. Maybe we'll read them on the next show if we like some of them. So again, thank you guys so much for listening. We will catch you next week.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Make sure this is a good opportunity here to check out our patreon.com/RFK Refugees. The hope is to do a second show during the season. Now that the season has started, I'm going to try to do one as a little bit of a preview that will also take into account any of the media that gets any of the pre-match press conference. Not that I'll be in them, but as I read about what happened in them, I used to do like a 5 or 8 or 10 minute little micro pod that goes out on Friday morning before game weeks. I'm going to attempt to do that this Friday. I have some time. So look out for that. If you're saying, what is this? I don't even know what you're talking about. Patreon.com/RFK Refugees. Join us. Throw $5 in there and get some extra podcasts in your life. We'll get a little up to the minute information that you can listen to right before you walk into Audi Field and freeze your butt off.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. Looks like there'll be less snow.
Less snow.
Most of the snow is staying.
That's good.
Most of the snow is staying down here in Richmond. So I will be snowed in most likely. So,
yep.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you guys next week. Vamos.